as someone who's been a practising lot feeder for the best part of 50 years...
Just about that, yeah.
Why was it important to capture the history of the feedlot industry in print like this?
The feedlot industry, I think, is a very important adjunct to the beef cattle industry of Australia. It took a lot of putting together, and there are a lot of interesting people that saw some future in lot feeding. And I think, as we found when we were writing the book, history can fade very quickly, and I think we've been very timely in writing this history now, because I think we have pulled up all those particular facts that were so important and so relevant to the growth of the industry.
I mean, the first generation of lot feeders obviously now are getting on in years. Was it important to capture their early memories while they're still with us?
Yeah, very much so. I mean, they were the people that had the foresight, virtually, to go into something that was just completely new. And there was a lot of opposition to people that did take that brave step at that time. A lot of grain growers didn't think it was the right thing to be doing, didn't see the future as a good customer for their grain. And a lot of the cattle breeders thought that, that we produce such a good quality grass-fed product in Australia, why would you want to go to grain feeding? Yeah. So all those facts need to be brought out, and they have been.
What were the major turning points, in your opinion, that really defined the development of the modern feedlot industry?
Well, I think the way that people approached it, I think number one was that the individuals knew they couldn't do it on their own, and they got together in little groups and formed a society, and so it grew. And then we realised that if we wanted to become a voice that anyone would listen to in Australia, we have to become a national body as well. And so there was a lot of work went into uniting different groups of people in the different states, forming together, which we know now has come together in the Australian Lot Feeders Association. But I think those people that had the foresight really stuck very much to science. They realised that this industry, if it was to survive, it had a lot of opposition. We needed to do things correctly. And if the science didn't tell us that was the right way to go, it wasn't perceived to follow it accordingly.
And so 50 years on, has the feedlot industry developed in a fashion that you could have envisaged back all those years ago in the 1960s when you started putting cattle on grain?
No, I don't think anyone could foresee, the way it has grown. And we're not big. I mean, the American industry is much bigger. But it still forms such an important part. It's an adjunct, as I said in the beginning, to our wonderful grass-fed production in Australia. And there are a lot of producers today that, have become quite professional at contract feeding their cattle through feedlots. There are a lot of abattoirs that see the feedlot industry being important to them, keeping a kill consistently coming through their doors. And I think the consumer has benefited from the fact that those early feedlot producers understood that the product they were producing had those subtle things that were different about it, and got more consistency, and out of it of course grew the grading system that we have today, which encompasses all breeds of cattle and all types of production.
Great, thanks Rob and Hart. Thanks for joining Beef Central TV.
Been a pleasure, John. Thank you.